Hey, Eagles fans, if you're a subscriber to the JAKIB Media YouTube channel, you are already registered to win a pair of season tickets for the upcoming season. That's right, you could win a pair of season tickets for the upcoming 2021 season just for being a subscriber. If you're watching and you're not a subscriber, do it now. Subscribe to the JAKIB Media YouTube channel right now. What do you need to do? Subscribe right now.
Falcons to get the season underway. We're previewing it here on Birds 365 because it's the last show we'll do prior to Eagle season getting underway. You doing about 4 or 5 Birds, not Birds 365, JAKIB Media shows between now and kickoff. John, how many you got locked between?
I got one at least this afternoon. I'm traveling tomorrow, some kind of incognito. Yeah, and then I'll have about 57, I think.
So my apologies. I didn't even know until yesterday that you were traveling. Good to see. You talked to your fellow Eagle beat guys. Percentage of those who are traveling and going with the team. I was a little surprised. I'm glad to see that that is the case, and you're going to be there and be able to share with the folks kind of a feeling of not what only happens on the field, but what it's like in the stadium and emotion and everything else. How many guys are heading down that you know
of? Most of the regulars are heading down. All the people you would think, they're all going down. So it is a little bit better. Very little travel last year for anybody, for obvious reasons, because there was really no reason to justify it because everything was Zoom and virtual anyway. So this year's a little bit different in the fact right now, and who knows what can happen, by the way, as we continue to go down this road. They've already upped COVID testing from twice a week to once a week. If we go back to daily testing, who knows how things can move. But for right now, if you want to talk to the coach and the key players of the game, you got to be there. So there's more reason to be there.
Are they still going to do Zoom access for those who choose not to go or don't have permission to go? That everything's going to be available video-wise. Are you going to be able to get individual one-on-one stuff after the game?
Yeah, I mean, you have to be there to ask questions. So obviously it'll be on video, say Nick Sirianni's press conference. But in the old Zoom world, you would just raise your hand and if your turn came up, your turn came up. If you want to talk to the head coach or the players, you're going to have to be in the stadium to do that this time.
Okay, so they're not going to take any question via Zoom?
No, not virtually, no.
Then yes, I do see the reason why you guys are definitely going to be down there. All right, practice yesterday again. You guys get your limited view, and you can see what you can see for the short time that you're there. Brandon Brooks still limited. Anything of importance come out of practice that you saw that you think can be of note going to Sunday against the Falcons?
No, I mean, I think the injury report, as it should be in week 1, especially after the Eagles the way they handled the preseason, is very light to begin with. So you're really talking about 2 players and Brandon Brooks. And the only reason you're talking about Brandon Brooks is because he showed up and people didn't know he was injured. And he's really not injured. They're trying to manage him as an older player to get to the game as healthy as possible, which, I think raises a few red flags, to be honest, but nonetheless, they expect him to play. So that's not an issue. Rodney McLeod is the one notable, and we talked about Darius Slay, kind of people thought he let the cat out of the bag. He really didn't. He just didn't understand the pup rules. So Rodney's still in that legitimate questionable category. And we'll probably get a better indication. Today's after practice. They have to put out the final injury reports. And if he's ruled out, obviously we know. If he's questionable, it's going to probably be a game time decision. And then guys like Davion Taylor, Landon Dickerson, they're just in that ramp up period. I wouldn't expect them to play. Didn't expect them to play. If they do play, it would be a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, I was going to ask. I'm with you on Taylor. When will you guys know? When will anybody know? The Eagles will know because they're the ones who are making the decision. But when are we going to, as an Eagle fan base, have a better clue, maybe a better read on when Landon Dickerson is actually going to be activated? Now, it can be activated, and then we like the Eagles' offensive line. There's not really a place for him to jump in unless somebody gets hurt at this stage. When do you think we'll have a better clue as to when he actually will be active for one of the Eagle games?
Well, I mean, you can see him ramping up in practice, so it is getting a lot closer. He's got his helmet on. He's in drills. He's getting much closer than he was in the past. We'll see pretty clearly pregame. Number one, is he dressed? That's a good sign. So you get to see with the pregame warmups, anytime you have a questionable, and this is probably more notable for Rodney, if they try to take that up to game time, you'll see pretty quickly is he running with the first team when they do their preseason pregame kind of stuff. But with Landon, yeah, I mean, are the Eagles going to be honest about it or not? You know how Nick Sirianni thinks about competitive advantage. He's a backup offensive lineman. I think people have to realize it. I think it only becomes an issue if there is a game where Brandon Brooks can't play, or Jason Kelce can't play, or Isaac Seumalo can't play. Then it really gets under the microscope. Until then, I think they're going to be pretty patient with Landon Dickerson because, I say it all the time. It's a 9-month injury to begin with, so you're pushing it from a calendar standpoint. But it's also a 6'6", 330-pound guy. And I think you've seen with Brandon Brooks, he's made these amazing recoveries as far as how fast he's been able to do it from Achilles tears. But he's also 6'5", 330, 340. And the second time, he actually lost a lot of weight to rehab before putting it back on because it's just more difficult to do that as a bigger guy. From a personal standpoint, I think they should be very, very cautious with Landon Dickerson because your guys are healthy. He's not going to play anyway. So I think you have a luxury. He was a luxury pick. Use that luxury. Landon Dickerson's about 2022 to me.
Right, but let's say, do you expect Landon to be activated for the game? There's a bunch of different steps we got to go through here. There's whether he's going to actually start, not happening if they're completely healthy, whether he's going to be active and be the backup. Because as of right now on the Eagles roster, it's not like they're 10 deep on the offensive line for potentially.
They're pretty deep. I mean, you have Nate Herbig is going to be the top interior backup. Remember how you put together your game day roster. You essentially have an interior backup and a swing tackle. That's how you traditionally do it. And now the NFL's expanded the roster you get an extra offensive lineman because there were too many times you would have to see a tight end line up a tackle if you had a couple injuries, and they didn't want that anymore. So you do. I mean, everybody's only going to carry 8 on a game day. You have the interior backup, and right now that's going to be Nate Herbig, who proved himself last year. Although the Eagles would like Landon Dickerson to be that guy eventually, and the tackles are probably going to be Brett Toth and Andre Dillard. Those are the guys I would think.
All right, so let me ask you a question. And I know I'm going to tick off Eagle fans here. I'm sorry, it's a legitimate question. It's going to give a pessimistic spin to things, but sorry, I need the answer to this question. And it's not outrageous. Lane Johnson and Brandon Brooks both have to come out of the game on Sunday. Maybe not for the entire game, but for a period of time. Who's subbing in?
Well, in that case, which would be a disaster, it would be Herbig at right guard and Toth at right tackle, which is good. Again, not good from a standpoint. I'm saying good compared to other teams. In other words, if other teams lost their two best offensive linemen, and you could argue that, Jason Kelsey should be in that conversation. That's how good the Eagles' offensive line is to begin with. But if other teams lost those two, you don't have Nate Herbig played really well last season. And Brett Toth, I think, is in the conversation, more unproven, but in the conversation to be the most improved player over the summer. I thought he was great over the summer. That's why he made this football team. So, look, it wouldn't be good. No, anytime anytime you lose players like that, it's not good. But they're more capable of handling it than most teams. And I would say, conservatively, without looking at them, at least 30 teams.
Fair enough. If those are the two guys that are going into the game, and you said you think the Eagles are only going to activate 8 offensive linemen, who's going to be the 8th? Is it going to be Landon Dickerson, or is it going to be
Dillard.
the one
Andre Dillard?
Dillard purely to be the left tackle backup?
Well, remember, you have it. It's almost like now they changed this rule a couple of years ago. It's almost like now you have an extra guy because they wanted to avoid those situations where you had to play tight ends out of position, which happened a number of times around the league. And if two offensive linemen, you go back 5 years, you don't have to go back very far. Teams would carry 7 offensive linemen. So you'd have the 5 starters, you'd have the interior backup and the swing tackle, and you could see how things could go pretty wonky pretty quickly. So you have that extra sort of flyer, so you can afford. If it were the old days, it would probably be Herbig and Toth, and then it would be sort of egg on Howie Roseman's face because you got to deactivate the former first-round pick because he can't play right tackle. Yeah, that's the reason. Andre's probably a better player than Brett Toth, but Brett can play both sides and Andre can't.
Agreed. So then week after that, when they're shooting up 8 offensive linemen, if Toth and Herbig are going to be the two guys that are pretty much a given every single week.
When Landon's ready to go, I mean, Nate's SOL, as they say. When Landon's ready to go, he's so much more talented. And the Eagles have said they don't expect this to be a redshirt year for him. So he's going to be active at some point. He's going to be the backup interior player. And he's going to be one snap away. And that's what they want because, they think he's going to be a really good player. And they're probably right, barring injury, which is the big issue with him.
Fair enough. All right. I did want to run this by you. And when we get up here, Ed up here next hour, I want to get his take on it as well. The Eagles released their hype video yesterday. And has been in town for a long time and been watching and judging the Eagles hype video for years. And I am kind of like the Grinch when it comes to this stuff, because I think when you've seen one hype video, you've basically seen them all interchange different highlight plays.
Yeah, I think I'm more of a Grinch than you on this. I didn't even know. I couldn't even tell you the previous hype videos. I
can. And somebody, if you do a talk show here in this town, you know that you're going to get a call about it. Somebody's going to love it. They want you to play it on the radio, which doesn't really work. But I have in years gone by said, oh, okay, another hype video for the Eagles. I got to tell you, Johnny Mac, I loved this year's hype video because it isn't your standard hype video. It's conceptually something completely different. It's just about the community and the catchphrase of the Philadelphia Eagles, Go Birds, and some pretty good production went into it. Some smart people put this thing together. Is it the kind of thing that you want to put on at 12:55 before kickoff on Sunday? No. that's what usually you get for your hype video. You want to have it in your DVR, be able to hit it, and then turn on the game and go, because it's all about emotion and screaming and yelling and pumping your fists in the air and actually hitting, doing a chest bump with somebody in your living room if you get ready for the game. That's what this. And
now I gotta watch this thing. I saw part of it, but I didn't. I do like, because I know Lane's in it, Brandon's in it, Brandon Brooks, Brandon Graham. I saw them. I like all those guys personally, so I thought they did a real good job. I didn't see the whole thing.
Oh, you got to see the whole thing. You got to watch it.
Yeah,
it is. It's really, really, really well done. And yes, for a Grinch guy who usually doesn't put much into the Eagles hype video, because come on, it's the same thing every single year. That's why they call it a hype video, because it's supposed to get you hyped up for the game. This was kind of for a thinking man's Eagle fan, and I tip my cap to the production team with the Philadelphia.
Well, they do a great job with production nowadays. We talked about Hard Knocks a couple weeks ago with the drone shot. That was amazing. And I don't know if you saw the Miami Dolphins. They did one right after that on their own, which was amazing. So yeah, they've been a lot of teams around this league do a great job with that kind of stuff. Doesn't surprise me the Eagles did a great job, but yeah, I'm with you on the hype video. If you like it, you like it. Bless you. I mean, like what you like, but at the end of the day, I don't care. That's me. I'm the Grinch guy.
Been there, done that, and I'm usually that guy, but I give him the nod. This one was different, and it was cool, and it was well done. But one point, it opens up, and if you get a chance, we're going to take a break here in about 10 minutes. See if we can sneak it in. It's a solid, I think it's about 3 minutes. It starts with Jason Kelce, and I don't want to ruin it for you or anybody else.
I did see the Kelce part as well. Yeah,
okay.
Jason.
With Jason in his robe, which is phenomenal. But it was shot previously. If it was shot yesterday, might have been a bit of a different look. And part of the video is about Zach Ertz saying, "Go Birds." I thought you said "Go Blonde," which was very cool. Jason Kelce going blonde too? What's the deal there?
Yeah.
How many Eagles are going blonde?
Lane Johnson brought that up yesterday. He said we're going to get a surprise hairdo-wise, but he wasn't going to talk about it. So, yeah, I mean, he called it Zoolander-like. So, hey, man, they're having some fun. I think, I'll tell you, man, Zach Ertz is what an amazing turnaround. I mean, that guy is just. I talk about him pre-practice with Nick Sirianni. They always have a pre-practice meeting. If you see my social media, I try to get a picture of it every day. He's stretching next to Jalen Hurts. I mean, he is doing everything right. I will say that for Zach Ertz.
Well, and I'm not going to give Howie Roseman any credit because
nobody gives Howie credit.
Well, no, I'll give Howie credit when he deserves it, but I don't give it to him just for credit's sake. If he earns it, I'll give it to him. But
he's the reason he's here. But I don't think he deserves credit for it either. I don't think.
No. I'm gonna interrupt you. He's not the reason he's here. The NFL undervalued at Zach Ertz. The rest of the league is the reason Zach Ertz is here, because I believe Howie Roseman tried to trade him to all 31 other teams, and they weren't willing to part with what I believe was a reasonable asking price. I think this guy's going out and he's going to be a top 5 guy in the league in receptions, in yards, in touchdowns, and that's not worth the 3rd round pick. If you can assure yourself you're getting a tight end that's going to finish in the top 5 in receptions, yards.
I've been saying it for years, Jody. Teams in this league overvalue draft picks to a ludicrous degree. I mean, if you look, all you got to do is look back at 3rd round picks and say, what are the odds that you're going to get a player like Zach Ertz? Okay, it's going to be a short shelf life. Guess what? football is a short shelf life. I mean, everybody's working on a 2-year system and everything turns around. Every contract in this league, no matter the numbers you see, is almost 98% of them are 2-year deals where you can get out of it for the 3rd year. Everything is on a rotating 2-year basis. Don't talk to me about 3rd-round picks when you can get a veteran player that can help you win, especially when you're a contender. Now, all right, if you're a bad football team, if you're rebuilding, probably doesn't make a lot of sense. But I agree with you. My only point is, if Howie just wanted to, and you're right, that's why I said it's neither. He's not, Howie wasn't going to dump him for nothing, and he held his ground. So that's my only point. But you're right. And that's what Zach said at his press conference. In the end, Howie Roseman and the Eagles valued him more than everybody else. He even said that himself.
True. Oh, yeah. That is absolutely on point. So while I'll give Howie partial credit, the credit goes to the rest of the National Football League, who I think undervalue it. Now, Zach Ertz goes out and catches 35 balls for 497 yards and catches 2 touchdowns. Guess what? The rest of the league is going to be proved right, and Jody McDonald and Howie Roseman are going to be proved wrong.
And John McMullen, because I'm in that. He's going to have a big season.
If he goes out and catches 65 to 70 balls and he catches 7 touchdowns and he goes for 700 and change yards while sharing the position with his fellow tight end, Mr. Goddard. Yes, I think the Eagles are going to play a lot of 12.
Gotta have that 3rd-round pick, Jody. Gotta have that 3rd-round pick. Gotta have it. Can't give up a 3rd-round pick. I'm amazed at this league when it comes to draft picks. Other than the top 10, let's be honest. You can go back. Just go back to last year's draft. Just look at it. Never mind 2-3 years. Just go down the 1st, 2nd, 3rd rounds and see how they overvalue these draft picks when you're talking about proven veteran players. And I can't give up a 3rd-round pick for a proven player. It's insanity to me.
One of the guys who used to laugh at that, and again, I'll show my age here. You might not remember it as clearly as I do. That's one of the reasons I love George Allen, the old coach of the Washington Redskins. He would trade all of his draft picks basically every single year for veteran guys that could help him win that year. He didn't care. He just, all right, we'll trade for this guy, we'll trade for that guy, and then you come draft guy. And the Washington Redskins have 2 choices every year. That now I'm forgetting his name. The ex-Red
George Allen.
Excuse me. Sorry, brain fart. He would just decimate his draft and go, yeah, but I got better players right now. You want me to win this year? I can win this year, but I need to get the best players I have. Not wait and develop. No. My job is to win this year. Next year, we'll figure it out next year. But we'll go year by year and give me the best talent every single year.
Yeah, the Rams are the team. Les Snead and the Rams. I mean, he gives up the Seahawks as well. The Seahawks almost always trade out of the 1st round. So I would say those are the 2 teams. And by the way, they've been pretty good. Everybody's Ricky Bobby rules: win a championship or it's not successful. But the Rams have been a pretty good team since Les Snead has taken that tact, and the Seahawks have been good for a very long time now. And people, they only got 1 Super Bowl. Oh, really? They only got 1?
1 is pretty good.
Yeah, 1's pretty good.
It's a hard thing to get your hands on, and when you get it, you take credit for it. Yeah. All right, he is John McMullen. I'm Jody McDonald. We are the Mac guys. I'm Birds 365. Continuing to talk about the upcoming game. We really haven't sunk our teeth into the Falcons just yet. How do you go about figuring out the Falcons?
Ooh,
do you watch the old Falcon tape? Do you watch the couple of preseason games?
I think you got to watch old Dean Pease tape and Arthur Smith in Tennessee. Yeah. But even Arthur Smith in Tennessee, he doesn't have Derrick Henry, so he can't run Tennessee's offense. That's silly. I don't know. Nick Sirianni's talked about that all summer, how he has an advantage. Well, you don't have an advantage in week 1 because you don't know what the hell Arthur Smith is rolling out there. Because Mike Davis ain't Derrick Henry. No, I can tell you that.
Not even close. So the Eagles, at least on the defensive side, I think have their work cut out for them. Offensive side too, because you're right. It was Pease going to throw at you I think Arthur Smith is even harder to figure out. We'll talk about that with our buddy Ed Kurtz. Mr. Kurtz is going to join us next hour. We still got a lot yet to do. Stay with us right here on Birds 365.